Who's that you? Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah? Oh, yes, you're gonna read with me. Are you gonna read with me? Okay. Welcome back to part 2 of Evelyn's diary. Hope this purring isn't too loud for you, but I can't resist having a kitty in my lap. Oh, hey. He's gonna read the diary with us. He's gonna sit in my lap here. Maybe. Or not. Yes, no? You wanna sit down? No? Please? Fine. It's an or not. So, I left you on February 19th in this diary. Oh, hello, come back up, yeah. Come on up. I am dressed appropriately to welcome Evelyn should she decide to stop by, because if you did miss part 1, the cat's down here still, this is a haunted diary, so I'm told by the person who sold it to me. They said her brother bought it 30 years ago at a flea market, and while reading it, a woman appeared. And actually, I forgot to show you the picture at the end of... Are you getting up here or not? The end of last episode. I will show it to you now. I didn't want to show it to you at the very beginning. I didn't want to influence you. But now, you shouldn't be watching this part unless you've already watched part 1. So go back and watch part 1. And then when you come back, I will reward you with a picture of Evelyn. Where did it go? It was in here. I just saw it. There it is. So there's a picture of her. I'm going to have to scan this in and show it to you over to the side, because this is way too small to actually see from there. Did you see this? Did you see that? Yeah. That's Evelyn. Evelyn Quinby, her last name. So this is part 2. Hopefully I'll get it finished this time. We are on the lookout for Evelyn. I have some reflective surfaces here. Got a mirror behind me. I haven't looked at the footage from the first part yet. I just went to take lunch and upload it to the computer, and I have not gone through it yet. But we are going to press on and pick up on February 20th, 1901, and see if any spooky things happen. I do have 2 cats around here wearing bells. Sometimes there are children playing outside, or someone walking around downstairs. If I notice something, I will speak up, but I'm a little focused on trying to read her handwriting because it is a little difficult. All right, back to it. February 20th, 1901. Oh, my stomach is growling. Please forgive that too. Went to church with Mrs. Fletcher, I think, and in the afternoon took Miss... Yeah, I don't know. Plumstock, I don't know. To the theater to see Otis Skimmer in Prince Otto, and enjoyed it. So much. After dinner, Walter Brooks and Bert Bustle came, and we walked down to Dr. Shirley's, and the Dr. Miss Hodge and Miss Dietrich joined us, and we all went to Wonderland, and for a wonder it was good. Then all came here for supper. Miss Hodge is fine. Oh, this is so hard to get through. February 21st. I spent the morning at home, and in the afternoon met Joe downtown and went to the 20th century something as Mrs. Norton's guests to Mother and Mrs. Skinner had a very pleasant time, met Miss Hodge and Miss D, and all went over and had chocolate and then walked home. I remembered the Sembridge comfort and asked Mrs. Frank Fletcher to go with me. It was one of the best concerts I have ever been to. Did not go downtown as I had expected, but something to Park Davis, something with Miss Hodge and Miss I. Had a fine time and enjoyed it all, but came home with the most awful odor about us. After lunch, I went up to see Sally Russell and then to call on Miss Paul and Mrs. That must be, I don't know what it is, D. Warren. Then left some books for Theo or something and went to church. Walked as far as the Fletchers with Mr. Harris and took dinner there. After dinner we had a game of whist, and Mr. Fletcher and I came out ahead. Mr. something walked home with me. Theo is ill and can't go out. As Theo is ill and can't go out. February 23rd, did some shopping in the morning, and after lunch walked down for Madame R and took her to see Shinner. Then went to church and home for dinner. Took a whist lesson at the Fletchers, and Mr. Fletcher walked home with me. Mrs. F asked me to dine there Sunday, but I refused. Mr. Clark Withick and Mr. Daniel Altland called, but I was out. Must suck not to have a phone. Went into Julia Trubridge's for a minute after church. She had a tea for Mrs. Mitchell, Miss M, and someone else's friend. February 24th. Went up to St. Joseph's Church and my stomach and sat with Edith. She wanted me to go home to dinner with her, but I refused. After dinner, Father and I went up to see Theo and Sadie and had a very nice visit with them. I stopped at the Fletchers on my way to Bell's for supper. Ernest Whitby, Alfred and Harry Russell were there. We had a fine time. Then Ernest and Alfred walked home with me. So many men. February 25th, Jane Standish. Gave a lunch for Mrs. something of something. It was a very pretty affair. I took Alice Bissell up with me after lunch. I went to call on Anne M. something, and Marie, and then went to see Jewel, I don't know, and had tea there with her. Had a fine visit with her, and then came home and went to bed early. February 26th, did a little housework, cleaned up my room, and then did not go out until late in the afternoon. Then went down to Julie Trubridge's and went to church. Theo Fletcher came and took me to a concert given by Fletcher Norton. February 27th. This morning I went downtown and then took Belle to see Hodgepodge and Dobie something. And then we went and had dinner. Oh, and then to call on Edith Gregory Williams and walked home. February 28th, went down to District, I don't know, and then walked up with someone, and on up to the Plums for my French class. After lunch, I went over to see Mrs. Fletcher, and then went to see Sally Brussel at the quarter, at a quarter something. I left and walked down and met Jay Truthbridge and went to church. Going to church a lot. March 1st. Joe something came up and took lunch, and we had a fine visit there. I went down to a card party at Mrs. something and had a very good time, and in the evening went to the Hoffman concert with Dr. Shirley. The concert was awful. That's a shame. March 2nd, spent the morning downtown and took lunch with Francis. Did not get home until dinner time and went to bed early. Oh, going out to downtown and having lunch with somebody sounds so nice. I mean, I always enjoyed it. It was pretty infrequent before, but oh my goodness, it has been so long. Oh, I miss the little things. How about you? March 3rd. Went to church in the morning, and after church, Belle, Goodwin, and I took a walk, but did not go far as the walking was awful. Bert Russell called in the afternoon, and Joe something, Alice something, Harmon Wendell Fletcher, Mr. Atton, names, were here for supper. We had a fine time. Everyone was gay and feeling pretty fine. March 4th, just got home in time for dinner. Went out about 10 this morning, shopping, and then had lunch. Sorry, my stomach's making noise. Lunch up at the Pat's. That's a nice P. I like how she made a P. I might have to do that. I think it's a P. And went downtown with Doctor. All the early part of the afternoon. Went to church and walked home with Julia Trubridge. I like her J's too. I'm always looking to change my handwriting a little. working on my penmanship with my fountain pen. Oh my goodness, my stomach. So sorry. Wow. Let's just let that pass. I ate a lot for lunch. It was left over from dinner last night, kind of a stir fry. March 5th, went up to see Mrs. something, and then went over to St. Paul's Church with her. I went to see Francis and took dinner there. We went to the Sunday? No. Something musical and heard a blank. She never goes back to fill these in. And it was fine. Took supper at Mrs. something. I did not get to bed until very late. Birth something. Took lunch with us. March 6th. How are we doing there? Saw Joe on my way downtown, and after lunch she Mother and me, she sent Mother and me at the theater and heard Foxy Guler. It was very good. Stopped in at, oh, that's scribbly, something Central. Sorry. It had chocolate, and then went over to see Mrs. Fletcher. Found her ill in bed. Oh dear. She underlined March 6th for some reason. March 7th, went up to St. John's to a quiet morning. It was very good. Mrs. Fletcher went up with me in the afternoon, went up Edith's and spent the night. March 8th, did not get home until lunchtime and did not go out again at all day, as it was so rainy and nasty. Sorry about my stomach noises. That's disruptive. Okay, let's see. I can do one or two more entries, then I have to stop the camera. March 9th, went over and saw Mrs. Fletcher, and after lunch went up to the what? I don't know. Edith came up late in the afternoon, and we went up to the fire, and again then went to church and in to see Belle, and then dine at Mrs. Fletcher's, and did not get something until 10. Did not get home until 10. Okay, I have to stop the camera for a moment, and I will be right back. I think we can do this. We can do this. Have you seen anything suspicious yet? I have not noticed anything yet. A little disappointed, Evelyn. Where have you gone? Oh well. March 10th. It is an awful day, so did not go to church, but at 1:30 drove up to Mrs. something to dinner. Mr. and Mrs. Barber, Mr. William's father, mother, and myself did not get home until is that 4:30? I can't tell. Missed seeing Charles Whittock took supper at the Fields. Mr. Dr. something, people's names were there for supper. Dr. Guthman and other people came in after supper. Dr. something, Mr. something came home with me. I'm sorry. Names are difficult because I can't really piece it together. I don't know. Something came to it's a name. I think came to lunch, and Mrs. Pringle came and did my hair. Then I took Eloise downtown, I think, and got chocolate, and then went to Miss Wright's tea for Miss something or other White, and then to tea, I don't know, at St. Clair for dinner with Joe and Mother about 8. We went to Alice Ives, Mr. Norton Harmon and Mr. Swift were there, had a fine time. March 12th. Oh, Evelyn. Francis and Harry came to lunch, and I went downtown with Francis in the afternoon. There in I don't know. Can't read that. Heard Mr. Archer's organ ritual. March 13th, went down to the office and then to something Paul's for the French class, and from there up to Pantit for lunch. I did not get home there until 4. I did not leave there until 4. Walked down to Bell's and had tea with her, and then took dinner with Mrs. Fletcher and went to something Adams in Langlong. It's like a French, I think it's a French thing. She's simply fine. Got home and found a telegram from Anne Hobbs. March 14th, did not sleep well all night and got up very early to go to the station to see Anne Hobbs. Had a fine visit. What? Don't know. And then took the trolley car home after lunch. Dressed. I go to a small card party. For someone's names, dined here and went to the theater with Father and Mother. I'm awfully tired. Now I'm going to bed. Mr. Alton called but did not see him. Sorry, March 15th. Nothing in the mirror behind me. Nothing going on. Okay. Walked down to meet Julia, and then we went to take a Turkish bath. And I went home to lunch with Dr. something. R was there, and we had a very pleasant visit. got home at 3, and Joe came up at 3:30, and we had a visit before Mr. Swift and Fletcher Morton came and had tea with us. What if 2 men callers come at the same time? Is that a little awkward? They're stopping by. March 16th, spent the morning in bed, did not go out until I drove downtown in the afternoon with Mrs. Fletcher. Went to church in the afternoon and to bed early. March 17th, went up to St. John's Church with Mrs. Fletcher, maybe, and visit somebody. Walked home with Mrs. Baker and somebody came to supper, and someone else called in the evening. March 18th, went downtown early to get slats for something, and then went over to see Joe at the hotel. We had a fine walk about town. Went in to see Theo and Harry at the office. Francis and Joe came to lunch, and in the afternoon, Joe and I went up to see somebody, Alice Inez, and all went to call on Mrs. something at the, and from there to the hotel and visited with Joe. Boy, yes, I wonder how old is she? What's going on in her life? I mean, just all these visits and concerts. March 19th, went to the theater to get my seats, and then to call on somebody, and up to lunch at Francis's. In the evening, went to see Frank Danner's. I don't know. March 20th, had to go to the French class up at Sally Russell's, and after lunch went to meet Florence. Did not do a thing but visit. Still don't see anyone. Maybe I'm just not that sensitive. March 21st, someone and I walked downtown to see Joe. Had a little visit with her and did some shopping and came home. Did not go out again until we went to see Bernhardt and Coughlin in Layton. March 22nd, went for a long walk in the morning. Francis and Harry and the baby were here for lunch, and Sadie and Eloise came up in the afternoon. In the evening, we went to see Bernhardt and Coughlin in Cyrano. Took Belle, Goodwin, and Edith Grummond. Edith spent the night with us. March 23rd. Edith, Florence, I think, and I went for a walk. Went in to see Mrs. Fletcher, but she was out. Went home for lunch, and then Florence and I went to see Bernhardt in Camille, and up to Edith's for dinner. We were all very tired, so went to bed early. She skipped over March 24th and 25th, 26th, but March 27th. Took Edmund and, don't know, Robbins to the theater to see Andrew Knack. What's wrong? March 30th, went up to a lunch at Edith's for Evelyn Wright, and then to have my I don't know, something fitted, coat fitted at Madame Clark's. Mm-hmm. You know, I completely forgot I was going to turn on this light over here for these videos, and I did not. Ow, and it's getting a little dark. Oopsie. Oh well. Hope it's not too dark for you. Sunday, March 31st, went to church and then to the post office for Florence letter. Mr. something and Fletcher Morton called in the afternoon, and we went out for a walk. Saw Lizzie at church. She had just returned from the West. I hate it when I forget to do things like that, and now I'm so far through, and I'm trying to make these high quality videos. April 1st. Went downtown in the morning, and then in the afternoon I went down to Lizzie and we went to the dressmakers, and then called on Mrs. Edgar, Miss Warren and Mrs. Brooks, and from there went to meet Annetta. Mr. something called in the evening, and then after he left, we all visited with Annetta. Tuesday, April 2nd, went out for a walk in the morning and rested all afternoon. And in the evening, Mother, Lizzie, Annetta, and I went to something to see John Hare in the Gay Lord something. Lizzie took tea with us in the afternoon. April 3rd, Annetta had to go to see something doctor in the afternoon, and we would not let her go to the theater. It's evening, so I did not go. Rather, we visited at home. Had a Wonderland party in the afternoon. Ernest, some names: Bert Russell, Belle Goodwin, and myself. We all, what is that? Something back here for supper. We all came back here for supper after very something show. Friday, April 5th, went to the gosh, I don't know, in the morning, and then I went to church and then to the doctor in the evening. Winnie, Mrs. something, Annetta, and I went to see oh, I can't read that at all. Sorry. My battery's gonna go soon. Saturday, April 6th, Lizzie gave a small lunch. She had Belle and something from the lunch. And I went to see Dr. Jennings, and that evening to a party at Bell's. April 7th, went to church in the morning and then to the PU. After lunch, I went up to see Mr. Strutter at the supper and had a nice visit with him there. Got home in time to dress for supper. Mr. Norton, Mr. something, Dr. Gilman, and Lizzie came up to supper, and Ernest something came in to call. Oh, let's see, April 9th, just a little scribble. Annette left late in the evening. I don't know. April 11th. Had some of the girls in for tea, and in the evening went to the dance with Ernest Willard, with her, I don't know. Wow, these are getting scribbly. April 12th was ill all day. Well, that's why, I guess. It looks like pencil now. Just using a pencil. April 13th, didn't do a thing but stay in bed. Well, you can't write very well with a fountain pen in bed, so. April 14th, Ernest came early in the morning, and Sadie and Eloise were up for lunch, and in the afternoon, Mr. Norton and Mr. Swift called. April 15th, went to tea at Politan's and to see the Runaway Girls. Took Belle and something and Les Goodwin and someone else. Scribbles, geez, that's very strange. Like, and she missed some space there. April 17th, went to the Hutchers to a I don't know. Names Julia, Belle were there. Mr. Somebody came home with me. Way home from the party at Miss. That's scribbles, boy. Sorry. April 18th, Ernest left in the morning. April 19th, Mrs. Somebody gave a party for somebody. Somebody called and then went to the party, and then Belle and I did something. And somebody took us all to Wonderland. I need to know what this Wonderland is. So they live somewhere close to Boston, and there's something called Wonderland. April 21st, went to church and found it raining when I got out of church, and it just poured all day. All right, I have to stop the camera before the battery dies. Put a new battery in. Sorry. All right, I'm back, and I opened the windows a little bit more for a little more light, because it's just too late to use that one really now. April 22nd, went to the French class in the morning. April 23rd, Mr. Something called in the evening, and we had a fine visit. April 24th, took somebody, a girl, to see Mrs. Kidder, Midsummer's Night's Dream. It rained awfully all day. Mrs. Leonard, I think, was here when I got home. April 25th, went downtown in the morning, and then in the afternoon to a tea at Miss Somebody's to meet Miss Catherine Riddler, some people, and Mr. Somebody. Drove here, and we all went to the what? It was very good. Went to the what? Gosh. I can't read that at all. April 26th. Spent the morning shopping and then to lunch up at, it's worse in pencil. My goodness, why did you change to pencil? All her thing. Then went to a card party at Miss Reed's for Edith. Is this over yet? This is hard. April 27th. Now she scribbled it out. So it's Sunday 28th. Went to church in the morning and spent the afternoon at home. Dr. Something and Alfred, somebody called. And Saturday, took lunch at Julie Trubridge and took Julia and somebody and Miss Somebody to the, what is this, Pike? And then we all went and had tea up at Sally Russell's. Oh. On other page. Yep. April 30th, went up to the church to see Edith married, and it was a really pretty, quiet little wedding. Went to the house to see her there, and then came home in the afternoon, went to the dressmaker, and then to the altars. So nothing. Wait, no, don't know. That's what I'm looking at here. Wednesday, May 1st, went downtown and then to the French class and spent the afternoon at home and something at Helen Plum's. The dinner was given for Julia and the other guests were Belle and something, Bert Russell, and some people. Well, the kitties certainly don't see any ghosts. They are lounging on the bed. Thursday, May 2nd, went to the Swift Alger wedding and also to the reception after the wedding. Went up and something called on Mrs. Somebody. May 3rd, went downtown this morning and spent the afternoon at someplace. Sadie and Eloise came up for tea. Still not showing up, Evelyn? Was that all? And then there are these little articles. That's it. I haven't Googled Evelyn yet, and I should, because I'm wondering what happened. Why did she stop writing? Who was she? Oh, that's stuck in there. What is this? Oh, it's like something about the book. So let's see. There were these articles in here. It just ends like that. That was the end. That was it. We have read her diary. I do wonder why she stopped. Why do people stop? Don't know. So there's this article, and it's so funny because I'm in the Netherlands right now, but it's about Holland, about was it? Where did it say? Where's the beginning? The Queen of Holland and the Duke of Mecklenburg-Schwerin. Yep. Wilhelmina's love match. Hollanders resented American reports of alleged alliances. Royal wedding at The Hague. Dutch children busy preparing to welcome Oom Paul. So I don't know why that's in there. That's a strange thing to have in there. And there's a letter. Oh, let's see. A letter. I don't know. I think it's to her. The handwriting looks a little different. Well, let's find out. December 25th, 1900. In the morning, went to church. Oh, I guess it is hers. Like, I don't know why. Notes, diary. In the morning, went to church. Then after, Theo something and Eloise had been up to see our presents. I went up to see Harry and Stranas, who went in to see Joe something, and down to see Edith and Miss Taylor were there. Came home and went over to Mrs. Frank Fletcher's, then had lunch and went up to see Theo and Sadie, but did not stay as Theo Fletcher was to come up and take me to Mrs. Butler's. We stopped by for Lizzie and then went on to the tea and had a fine time. Yeah, that's her. Had dinner at the Fletchers, and then Theo walked home with me. December 28th, 1900. Walked downtown in the morning and did a lot of shopping, then came home and packed my trunk, and all the family went to the station to see me off for Concord. Mr. Anderson of Walterville, New York, who was very nice to me. We dined together, and then I went to bed. December 27th, my trip was a very pleasant one, and arrived at Concord at 5 and was met by Julia. Was delighted to be with her again and to meet her family. That might don't know. I met Mr. Strutter and think he is fine. Mrs. Strutter is just as fine as ever. That evening we went to a big dance given at the Eagle Hotel. I was awfully tired, so we left at 1 o'clock, December 28th. It's funny, I think it kind of looks like she was going to put 1800 something. It's crazy. Went downtown, you know, like the year changes and like, oh, nope, it's not 19, whatever anymore. It's not 1899 anymore. Went downtown in the morning, and late in the afternoon went out to the snowshoe club. I don't know if this is the continuation of that. As Mr. Strutter's guests, we all drove out in a large sleigh and had a fine supper, which somebody Strutter cooked. There were 20 of us, and after supper played cards. It was all very nice, and the men and girls were fine. December 29th, went walking in the morning and had calls in the afternoon. Then dressed to go to a supper at Mrs. Henry something, and had to go with powdered hair. The supper was fine. Then we played cards and had a beautiful time. December 30th, went to church in the afternoon, and in the evening had calls. Don't just remember who. December 31st, Mr. Hobbs came to call in the morning and asked me to a supper party at his house. He came up for us at 8, and then we went to the mass meeting, but could not get in, so we all something to Mrs. Hobbs and played cards, and had supper. Then went back to the mass meeting and heard Mrs. Strutter give a fine talk on philanthropy. It was fine. Then we all went to hear midnight mass and did not get home until after 2 o'clock. Had a fine time. Miss Hobbs and Mr. Hobbs are fine. I like them ever so much. I swear, how many times did she say fine in this diary? Oh, she says fine the way I say so. Fine. But that's that. Okay. Well, nothing suspicious happened that I noticed. I guess we're going to have to see if anything is on the film. Well, what would you call that? It's not film. But, well, I hope you enjoyed Evelyn's diary, with or without a haunting. And we will return to Adeline's diary in a couple weeks. So that's that. And I do have other diaries to read. Some of them are a little easier to read than that. Can't wait. I can't wait. I have diaries to last the whole year, I think. So, yeah. I still wish I hadn't missed out on that one. Oh, so interesting. But no, $1,600 is out of my price range. So, alas. All right. We will stop it here. I hope we caught a ghost. Let me know if you see or hear anything suspicious while watching this that I might not catch. And I will see you next week. Bye.